Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Controlled Interests Gamecast, a video game podcast focused on good vibes, thoughtful criticism, and celebrating the things we love about them. I'm your host, Jerrad Wyche, and with me today is the host of the Max Frequency podcast, co-host of Chapter Select, and inaugural guest of the very best, my monthly Pokemon interview podcast, Max Roberts. How's it going, Max?
Hey, Jerrad. I like that. That's made me feel very fancy. Thank you. That's so kind of you.
I know. And now that I'm pitching the podcast to other potential guests, you're the one I sent to everybody. So,
oh boy.
Hey, good review so far. A lot of people are like, "Oh, that seems dope. I'm willing to be on it." So, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And as well, PlayStation Lifestyle and ComingSoon.net writer and self-proclaimed bad skater, Mike Ruiz. How's it going, Mike?
I'm doing great. I am definitely 100% a bad skater. Not self-proclaimed. That is a fact. Genuine fact. Bad skater here.
It's cooler to be a bad skater than not a skater. I'll tell you that much. As somebody who doesn't skate, even if you're a bad skater, still cool to me.
Yeah,
anyways.
This is true.
Yeah, I guess it's hard.
Yeah.
I'm old. It hurts, but it's still fun.
We were talking before the show. I couldn't remember if you had been on before, but you said, yeah, it was like a long time ago. And I'm going to do my best, as something we also talked about before the show, to call you Mike and not Michael, so I don't sound so formal and a grandpa. So
Yeah,
I'll try my best.
all good. The byline says Michael, so I understand.
You go by the byline.
Yeah.
I want to do an icebreaker for us. Last episode, I talked about what my most anticipated games were. Did like a top 10 list. I should have done some honorable mentions. There's just so many games coming out every single year. It seems like more and more. I wanted to ask you guys what game you're looking forward to the most this year. You can name a couple, but there's one I want you to kind of focus on. I guess we'll start with you, Mike. What's your most anticipated for 2026?
So I'm gonna go with there's two. One of them comes out, I think, tomorrow or tomorrow, and another one comes out way later, which we'll probably talk about later on during the show. But one of them is Yakuza Kiwami 3. I am very excited for that game. That is my favorite entry in the Yakuza series. I haven't played them all. I've played 0, 1, 2, 3, then 7, 8, and then if you count the Judgment games, I've played those. But that one is probably in my top 3 favorite Yakuza games, so I am very excited for that game. And then the second would be Control Resonant. Very big Control and Alan Wake fan. Alan Wake 2 is probably like one of my favorite games of the last decade. So, or probably is my favorite game of the last decade. So, I am very excited to see what they do with Control Resonant, considering who you're playing as and the gameplay style, because it's something that Remedy doesn't really do or hasn't ever done really. So, I'm excited for that.
Before we get to Max, I had a couple of questions for you real quick. For those who don't know, what's the added Dark Ties thing for Yakuza 3?
So, it follows actually the antagonist. His name's Mine. I don't remember the full name, but it's the antagonist of Yakuza 3, and you're playing as him. And from what I could gather, from reviews and like what people are talking about the game, I think they changed the ending of it, which has been somewhat controversial.
Okay.
Which makes sense if they're trying to change things and make Mine more of a player within the world of it. So I'm not entirely sure like exactly what it's about. I think it's about how he gets into like the Yakuza life. But beyond that, I'm not entirely sure. But you play as Mine in it. You don't play as Kiryu or any of the other like super well-known characters like Majima or I don't know, like Saejima or any of those other guys. It's you're playing as Mine in it.
Okay, so it's a prequel add-on for Yakuza 3. That's cool.
Yeah, and I think it's probably on the shorter side too, I would assume. I think it's probably similar to when they did the Majima one. I forgot which one that was. Maybe Yakuza Kiwami 2 or it was 0. I can't remember which one. They did like a Majima side story in one of them, and I think it might be on that level, but maybe a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more lengthy than that, because it feels like they're putting an emphasis on it for sure.
Okay, and my second question, whenever I talk to other people I'm a big Remedy fan, I always want to ask them, because Remedy thankfully has gotten a lot more fans since, post-Control. Mm-hmm. Did you play Quantum Break? And if you did you like it?
Yeah, both. I liked them. I liked it I played it when it came out. I haven't played it since though. But I do like it. I like kind of what they were doing. I think I understood what they were trying to do, and I think they really did what they wanted to do with that, with like Alan Wake, like actually Alan Wake 2, I mean, with combining the two mediums together to create like this both like live action and video game story and stuff like that. I think they really perfected it with that one, but I did like it. I mean, I watched all the little mini episodes in between each chapter and stuff like that, so I liked it, but I understand why people probably didn't like it. It was definitely a little weird for sure.
I agree with you. I think the TV segments of that game watered down what I personally think is like a very underrated gaming experience. I think Quantum Break is actually at its core in terms of like gameplay is a really fun game and does a lot of neat stuff. And to your point, I do think that Alan Wake 2 wouldn't exist without Quantum Break, because they kind of took those lessons they learned there and molded them into a truly incredible game with Alan Wake 2. So I'm good to hear. I'm glad to hear it, because oftentimes people either didn't play that game, they heard that it was like a weird TV thing, and they didn't even think twice about playing it, or they just didn't like it at all. So it's nice to hear that somebody else enjoyed that more obscure Remedy title. With that being said, Max, what is your most anticipated game?
Well, two things. First of all, Quantum Break is on my list of games to play this year because I played Alan Wake for the first time last year. So it makes me
cool.
very happy to hear you both say that, because I'm getting in the Remedy zone, as they might say. And then a little real-time follow-up. Mike, you were on Controlled Interests back in July of 2020, July 5th you were on. Is NBA 2K21 the next-gen catalyst for $70 games? That was the episode.
Oh,
wow. How all that aged.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
$70. How about $80 video games? And speaking of $80 video games, it might be a bit cliched, but I think like GTA 6 has to be one of my most anticipated games for 26, and it will surely cost a lot of money. I know that feels kind of like, well, of course, the next Grand Theft Auto, but Red Dead 2 was so incredible.
Yeah.
And just they've basically had unlimited money and unlimited time for the last 12 years to work on the next Grand Theft Auto, and the last Grand Theft Auto game came out on the PS3 and Xbox 360. That's how.
Here's the thing, though, is how can it's hard for me to anticipate things that I'm not entirely sure are going to come out this year. That's my one hang up,
They just had their financials, and of course they're reiterating, like, of course it's coming out because they want their investors to be confident. They've had their signature 2 delays now, so I think this is the real one,
Yeah, my thing is that like I'm definitely looking forward to it, but I don't think there's anything that could remotely touch like the Red Dead Redemption 2 story like at all.
Sure.
So
I
and like
agree.
to me Grand Theft Auto definitely has like fun moments, and the story is like decent, like at least in 5. I never played 4. I hated playing 4 when I rented it from a Blockbuster, and then I didn't really play any ones before it, to be honest. But 5 I thought was like a fun story, but it didn't have like the real like great like to me didn't have like the awesome like dramatic writing that like Red Dead Redemption 2 has. It's so freaking good, but
it's untouchable.
yeah. I just don't know if it could hit that high, but I think on a gameplay level I think it's gonna be pretty slick.
Yeah.
I think they need to fix their shooting mechanics. I hate the shooting in Grand Theft Auto games. I think it's so bad.
That's what's so crazy is they own the tech to one of the great third-person shooters ever made in Max Payne 3, and they do put it in there in little bits and pieces, but it could be so much better.
It's just so many other aspects of those games are like 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, and then you get to the segments where you're shooting in the single player or you're playing multiplayer, and it's just bad. It's like bad. I don't know how else to put it. So I'm hoping they fix that. the story that we're assuming it's going to be could very much come out and feel very like derivative, which I'm kind of worried about. With the lovers that are criminals and everything, all the past that can take. But yeah, for me, I'm excited that you're excited, Max. I just still do not believe that game's coming out this year. I'm the pessimist on this. Hard for me to anticipate something that I'm like, oh yeah, it's gonna get delayed in a couple of months to next year. So
yeah, it might happen. There are other games. This feels interesting because it's out in just a couple of weeks. But Resident Evil Requiem is definitely like a huge one for me. But it's so close. It's weird to say it's one of my most anticipated games of the year, and it's out so soon. But that game is going to be incredible. There's no way it could possibly be bad at all. Right? So
I even put that into the universe. Why even say that?
Exactly.
Now it's gonna be so bad.
Yeah.
They've ruined it. They took the chainsaw away from Leon. And I guess like just quick and dirty honorable mentions, that Lego Batman game actually looks pretty sick because it looks like the Arkham game that we should have got. But they, instead Rocksteady decided to make a hero shooter Suicide Squad team based whatever, I don't know. And then, the Invincible game I think is good. And then a game was announced in the State of Play today as we're recording this that has entered the list as well, but we will talk about that later on for sure.
I'm really hoping that Batman game starts a trend where they do a similar thing to some of their other popular IP that they have and package them in like a way higher quality fashion. I want them to do that with Marvel. I want them to do that with the Lego Lord of the Rings and Hobbit games. Obviously Batman is a much larger IP than either of those. Well, maybe not Marvel, but I'm hoping that it sells well and it reviews well and it kind of puts them on a path to do this with other Lego stuff. Speaking of State of Play, you mentioned that. There was a PlayStation State of Play that happened the day we're recording this, which is February 12th, 2026. I'm going to run down the list of announcements, and I'm going to try to make sure to stop on the parts where we found were highlights, each of us individually. I'm looking through our list now to try to make sure I do this chronologically. Okay, I kind of got an idea of everything we were into. Okay, so first up, the first thing that appeared was Kena Scars of Cosmora from Ember Labs. It's coming this year in 2026. It's a sequel to their original game, Kena Bridge of Spirits. Looked interesting. It looked like a jump up for a sequel. Did either of you play the original?
Mm-mm.
I played a little bit of it.
Okay.
And I personally am not a fan of it. But
You're
it
whelmed.
I was whelmed. I thought it was pretty at the time, but I feel like I've played more similar games like that are better. Like have the PS2 kind of like platformer vibes. I feel like I've played better versions of that kind of game.
Well,
yeah.
It makes sense because Ember Labs is a lot of former animators, so it wasn't surprising to me that game looked pretty. But obviously, going from that to being game developers, it's the gameplay parts that they probably had to work on. And I'm hoping the trailer looked like they've even talked about it, improving on the actual like game aspects of the game, because it still looks beautiful, which wouldn't be surprising for anybody expecting their follow-up game. So we'll see what happens. I'm curious to see where it actually comes out, and the fact that we didn't get a date, I wonder if it's second half of the year.
Yeah.
Next up, speaking of a follow-up, we got Ghosts of Yotei Legends, which is coming March 10th. This is the multiplayer free expansion that's coming. They did the similar thing with Ghost of Tsushima. I own Tsushima. I have yet to finish it. I played it, and then something came up, and I bounced off, and I need to get back to it, so I haven't played Yotei myself. Did either of you play Yotei last year?
I did not, actually. I did not pick it up. It was outside of the budget when it dropped.
Yeah. I did review Tsushima when it came out for DualShocker. And then
Deep cut.
And I liked it. I think I gave it an 8.5, and then people were like, "You're an idiot. This is a 10 out of 10." I'm like, "You're an idiot." And then I did play some of Yotei, and I like that game. I think Tsushima's a good game. I played quite a bit of Yotei. I didn't finish it by quite a bit. I mean, I think I played like 15 hours or so of it, and I really, really, really like it. I mean, just I'm life is busy kind of thing, but
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the performances of all like the characters and stuff like that. I think it's a very beautiful video game. I like how the world is designed and everything like that, and how like the mission structure and stuff are designed too. I think it's really fun. It's definitely still like a by the numbers like open world game, I guess, in a sense, but there's like little quirks to it that make it somewhat unique and different, and I think mostly they succeed in doing what they set out to do. I think it's great.
Yeah, it kind of got lost in the shuffle of like Game of the Year and stuff. I think it suffered from like the Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man Miles Morales syndrome, where it was like more of a good thing, but it didn't like really elevate it in any extreme way after the initial release kind of caught people by surprise. So it just didn't really garner like that much interest in end of the year award talks, unfortunately. I'm looking to get back to Tsushima and then eventually Yote, obviously. Next up after that was Death Stranding 2 coming to PC on March 19th. Then we had 4 Loop from Bad Robot Games. This is the former Left 4 Dead developer. They're doing an open playtest for the game. Couldn't be less interested in this personally. But that's honestly, this could be a conversation for another podcast. A gamer in my 30s now, it's hard for me to find like a play group to play with consistently. So anytime I see a multiplayer game, it's like, oh, I'm never playing that. I don't have anybody to play with. And then oftentimes they always make the promise, well, you can play it solo and still have a good time. And that's never the case. It's never fun alone. In my opinion.
Come play with us. Come play with us.
Thanks for the invite. Well, not for Loop. I'll tell you that much. I'm not going to be playing for Loop, but I'll
look,
play.
I'm not. We would never play for Loop, to be honest. Yeah, there's nothing about like that kind of like PvE kind of stuff. Like I struggle to like enjoy. Really, I get why people love it. I've never liked that kind of thing, but yeah. We'll talk about a different game later, potentially.
Yeah, it's very weird. I don't understand the audience for that game. We'll talk when we talk about what we played this week. There's a game that both of you played that I want to talk about that is a similar conversation to what I think is going to happen with 4 Loop.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll get to that when we do. Next up, Capcom showed off Pragmata again. There's a demo out now. After that, we had Resident Evil Requiem, which we hinted at earlier, another trailer. Kind of feels like Dragon Quest. Was it 13 or 11? Which one was it that was like at every game show for like a year and a half? Which is like another trailer and another trailer and another trailer, and that opening theme for Dragon Quest.
They are
milking
milking the marketing machine for that game for sure.
It feels like every Dragon Quest
deserves.
they do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, reimagined recently, just trailer after trailer.
Yeah.
Next up, we had a bit of a surprise for people that are fans of the series. Legacy of Kain Defiance Remastered, which is coming out March 3rd. Then after the show, they announced a 2D game called Legacy of Kain. Oh, I didn't write it down. Something with an A, Apathy or something. I'm surprised that the second title that they announced wasn't in the show as well. Weird that they announced it like minutes after the state of play wrapped up too, which is quite odd.
It's Ascendance.
Ascendance. There you go.
Legacy of
Yeah.
Kain Ascendance. Yeah.
After that, we had Brigandine Abyss, which was like a weird JRPG thing. Then we had Dead or Alive 6 Final Round, which is the re-release of Dead or Alive 6. They showed off the photo mode with jiggle physics. Go look that up for yourself.
Let's go. I made the joke. I'm like, I made the joke. I'm like, this isn't the volleyball game. Don't give me the fighting game.
That's funny. And then in honor of their anniversary, they announced that the new Dead or Alive is in development. Next up, this is something that all three of us seem to have on our highlight list, which is Control Resonant. We saw gameplay, the first look at like real gameplay for this game. The only thing I really have to say is it feels like to me that this is Remedy being like, okay, our games are good, but they don't sell that well. What's really hot right now? Third-person action games. And they were able to put it into the world of Control in a way that feels satisfying and true to what the characters are. I love the fake out, by the way, when it was revealed how you thought it was Jesse the entire time, and it just ended up being Dylan with long hair checking in on himself. I thought it was a really well done trailer. For me, the gameplay looked really cool. Obviously, when you have streams like this, the frame rate and visual quality isn't all that good. So I'm not really going to knock it for that here at this presentation. Remedy's games always look fantastic upon release. I thought the gravity mechanic was interesting and very similar to what you'd expect in a Control sequel. And the other thing I thought is when they showed that first boss, that like flying bat Mothman looking thing, the way you jump on its back and do attacks felt very reminiscent of Shadow of the Colossus for me, which I thought was cool. Obviously a very minor comparison there. But yeah, I'm excited to see more of the game. Still no release date yet. They just said 2026 once again, so I'm hoping we get it by summer. But yeah, I guess we'll start with you, Max. What did you think of this Control Resonant gameplay segment?
It looks nifty. I think the craziest thing is this idea that you can walk on the sides or upside downs of buildings and it will rotate the camera. That feels conceptually like something that's going to be tricky. It has to be very difficult to develop for, but then tricky to just think about in a gameplay moment where it's like, oh, I can like switch walls here and that will change. It seems fascinating. Having what little knowledge I do have of Control and Alan Wake 2, I'm curious what the whole like narrative implications of this game are. And I'm also just wondering what Remedy's melee combat feels like, because Alan Wake Remastered, which obviously is based off the original game, not like the best shooting game, but it's not supposed to be, and that's totally fine. So I'm
Their
curious.
gameplay gets better with every game. Like Control, excellent gameplay, and Alan Wake 2, excellent gameplay. Alan Wake 1 is rough in a lot of ways. I love that game, but it's rough even when you go back and play the remaster.
Yeah, so I'm curious how this will feel for them, coming into a whole different type of combat that they're not used to. But I think it looks neat.
And Michael, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I kind of started to get a little underwhelmed by it. I think it looks really good, and I fully trust like mostly what Remedy does. Like, I even kind of like the gameplay of like FBC Firebreak. I don't know if any of you two played any of that game. Came out last year. It's their like.
No
I guess
friends?
we just talked about how no friends, but yeah, but
earlier said no friends.
but it is fun. It's just like there's not a lot of room for a lot of games like that. So, but I feel like they put a nice, neat little spin even on that kind of game. So I feel like I trust in what Remedy can do. But to me, it like the whole like switching wall mechanics, which I figured was what they were kind of going to go for because of how they first kind of revealed that game through. I don't want to spoil anything. They reveal it in a game. I don't want to spoil anything for Max, but they kind of reveal some stuff in a game at one point, and they kind of tease it out. So I'm like, oh, that seems interesting how they're gonna do something kind of like that. But it feels kind of like, it just doesn't look like it flows super well. It feels very like, I don't know. It just doesn't look like it flows like how you would expect like a action game you'd want it to like flow. But again, I just trust what they can do, and I'm very excited for it still, even with that. Looks neat. And I'm excited to see where like they take Dylan's story, because I thought that was very interesting that they chose to have Dylan be the protagonist for the whole thing. But it also kind of makes sense because he seems to be, again, I won't go into super story heavy stuff, but it seems like he's kind of the doorway into like certain things that happen in that world. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I am curious to see what type of approach they take to that genre of video game. Like, are they going more slow and methodical, area-based, like a lot of the Soulsborne games? Or are they going more fast-paced, like a DMC or something? And that didn't really, to your point, that wasn't really communicated all that well in that gameplay demo. Like, we didn't understand really the pacing of how you're approaching stuff, because I think they wanted to more focus on showing different aspects of the game. So hopefully get another extended look that comes with a release date finally. Next up, as somebody with no experience with the Darksiders franchise, 3/4 through this trailer, I thought this was a Darksiders game. It ended up being a new game called Crimson Moon. That's all I really had to say about it. I thought it was a Darksiders game, and then it wasn't. So that's all I got to say there. Next up, Beast of Reincarnation. We saw this earlier this year at the Xbox Developer Direct. This is coming from Game Freak. We got a release date, August 4th, 2026. This caught your eye, Mike.
Yeah. I'm actually like oddly very excited for it. One, because I'm not like super attached to Pokemon. Obviously, I was a kid at one point and I loved Pokemon, like every kid. But seeing like Game Freak actually make a game that's not Pokemon and kind of looks pretty good, I'm just very intrigued by it. And I think this one, the showing for this one to me felt a lot better than what they showed over at the Xbox showcase thing, the Dev Direct thing. Like I think it shows better as like a smaller trailer than like a drawn out thing of showing gameplay and stuff like that. And I got a little bit more excited about it, but I also love anything that's trying to be Sekiro because I love Sekiro, and I feel like it's got a little bit of
My
Sekiro
guy.
vibes going
Oh, yeah.
on. So I am excited just because of that as well. So I think it's interesting. I think this will tell you whether or not Game Freak can indeed make a very good game that runs well on hardware at all. Because
Without
I
a
did
year,
play,
like a 2-year dev cycle.
yeah, without a 2-year dev cycle. Yeah, exactly. So I think it'll be fun. See.
The thing that really caught my eye is it's coming to Game Pass, which I always appreciate because it gives me like like a free chance to try something and maybe I fall in love with it, which we'll
Yeah.
talk about later in the show. But also during the Dev Direct, I think something important for me personally was introducing that second faction, which is when they introduce like the corrupted souls that have been existing there since the fall of the planet. So
Yeah.
it's not just all of these like weird plant-based creature stuff, but it's also like the robot aspect, which I think is cool when those two things blend as enemies in a video game. I'm definitely not as excited as you are for this, but once again, with it coming to Game Pass, I'm going to boot it up and check it out because, to your point, Game Freak, I want to see what they can do outside of the world of Pokemon, and it might be a hit on their hands. Who knows? It might be one of those like niche things that pops off at the end of the year.
Yeah, 100%.
Next up, we have this is something close to my heart. We had the announcement of the Rayman 30th Anniversary Edition, which is coming out the day this is getting uploaded, February 13th. This is a big deal for me because this is a game my dad and I played growing up. We can never beat it. It was very difficult. And yeah, it was just a dose of nostalgia. I'm excited to get this, show him it. He doesn't really play video games anymore. But I think he'd be excited to just watch me play it and have those memories of us playing it as I was growing up. So I thought it was really cool. Just a personal anecdote I wanted to throw out there. Next up, this is one of my lowlights of the show, and I'll explain why. Mean of the Hollower showed up. No release date. Spring 2026. I am now of the opinion, and I know people gave Team Cherry a lot of shit for this, but I like what they did in that there came a point where they just went silent, and the next time they popped up, they had the firm release date. And I think Yacht Club Games needs to do that now. We shouldn't see this game again until there's a firm release date. I just don't think it's good for the game. I think people can get tired of it. I think there are already concerns with fans of Yacht Club Games because everyone wanted the follow-up to Shovel Knight, right? Obviously, we got tons of other smaller experiences after Shovel Knight in the world of Shovel Knight, as well as Dig and some other things, but people really wanted that morphing of that franchise, and instead we get this, which harkens back to a lot of the classic Zelda games, and just because people loved Shovel Knight doesn't necessarily mean they're going to fall in love with this. They're two totally different types of games. So I'm just worried that we're going to see this game too much, and it's not going to hit the way it is wanting to and people expect it to. Am I wrong for having that opinion? Do you guys think it's fine, we haven't seen it that much, or do you think they should go quiet till they have a date?
I'm convinced this
No,
game never
absolute-
comes out.
I don't know about that, Mike, but yeah, no, I totally agree. When they delayed the game indefinitely from the Halloween release date, which was like
2
truly
weeks
their
before?
one marketing goal. Yeah, the team had one job in marketing, which was to stick it to the Halloween release date that they originally announced. And so when they indefinitely delayed it last year, it should have been from right then. The next time you see this game, it has a date. I'm stunned. It did not get a concrete date today. I think the game is good. I played the demo. It has a very interesting systems and movement. I think the game will be great. I am so curious what happened for this.
Yeah, the only thing I can say is possibly they could have a prior deal in place where they announce it with somebody else, the date specifically for that marketing bump. But who knows? Yeah, it's weird to go from that close to release to indefinitely to now not an exact date. It's like, is it like feature creep? Is it like blow? I don't want them to be cramming to try to finish this game either. Like, take your time. But to my point, like, don't come back until you have a date, and I think it'll be a good pop. We don't need to see this 4 more times, and it's like, oh, well, now it's winter 2026, and now, you know what I mean? Just release it when it's ready.
I mean, they said spring, and I saw some of the devs and people over at Yacht Club like tweeting, saying soon. So, how soon is that? I don't know, but it's
soon is relative.
Soon is relative, and it's already had a 4-month delay from its original launch. So if you call spring, let's say it's late spring, end of May. I mean, that's a 6-month delay. That's pretty significant. That's something went wrong.
Exactly, yeah. And like I said, I want the game to be good when it comes out, and I don't want them to be trying to work unnecessary hours to get it out in time. Like, I'd rather you delay it and then we not hear about it until there's a release date than try to meet that spring date if that's what it's going to take, right, to kill the developers. So we'll see what happens. This game I didn't even know was in development. I don't know if this was like a announcement or if I just missed this when it was originally revealed. Neva Prologue, which is a prologue to, I want to say it was a 2023 game. Did either of you play Neva? I played it. I really enjoyed it. It's a very artistic 2D puzzle platform game.
I did not play it. I did play their game before it. The Gree? Is that how you say it? Gris?
There's 7 different ways people pronounce it. Just go with what you feel. Yeah.
I'm going to say Gree. It feels right. But I played that game, and I really did. I thought it was pretty decent. I liked it. Neva, I've heard very good things about, though. I think it's going to be is it a PlayStation Plus game? Is it going to be a PlayStation Plus game?
I don't know. I don't know if I missed that part of it. It's coming out in like a week, though, which is crazy. And I learned today, I used to call it Neva. It's not Neva. It's Neva. They said it like 3 times, and I'm like, oh, I've been pronouncing this wrong the whole time. But it's Neva. Like, until I hear somebody that knows how it sounds to be spoken, I'm going to mispronounce it like an idiot. But I was surprised to see what was coming out. Again. Yeah, exactly. It's their thing. It's their little marketing gimmick. You don't know how to say our game. I do highly suggest playing the original. Obviously, I can't speak to this prologue, but the animation in it is beautiful. The music is beautiful. It's very much feels like a... Are you guys familiar with Gendy Tartakovsky?
Yes.
You guys ever see Primal and stuff? Obviously, 100%. A master at shows that have emotional beats with no dialogue. This is very much that. Like, they know how to animate and handle stories with 0 dialogue. It does the thing that good indie games do to get you there with the hook emotionally. It has a pet familiar, you know what I mean? And you're worried about this thing the entire time. But it's a very solid game. I highly recommend it if you have a chance to play it. It feels like a piece of art.
It is Neva is as of today, PlayStation Plus game catalog for February. It is coming. Is it now? So, or 17th, February 17th. It'll be on the game catalog.
That's smart. 2 days before the release of the prologue.
Yep.
I wish I could suggest like, oh, play the prologue first, but you'd assume you'd want to, but sometimes it's weird with that stuff. You never know if they want you to play it after, so you don't see it, like stuff that, I don't know. It's odd. I wonder if they're going to package this like post-release as like one thing, and the prologue is just included in the purchase of the original game. That makes sense to me, but who knows? We don't even know the length of this. Like, I don't know if this is like a smaller experience that is meant to be a lead into the main game. Maybe like a 2-hour experience that costs like $5 or something. I don't even know if it's up for pre-order. Maybe it is. I should have looked into this. Next up, we had, I think, the only 2027 title showcased. Obviously, there's some games that could come out in 2027, but this is the one with 2027 as a date, which is Yakao Shinobi Ops. Looks like a stealth espionage game. Don't have much to say about that. Next up, one of the weirdest games revealed, Project Windless. I just wrote down Chicken Souls Warriors. It looks like a Dynasty Warriors game mixed with like a Souls game, and you play as a chicken, and it's based off of, I wrote down where do I have that? I wrote down the name of the book series it's based off of because that caught me off guard.
The bird.
They said it's based off of the
tears or something.
The bird that drinks tears.
That's
the acclaimed
sick.
book series. Yeah, so I wrote that down because I want to check it out. I wonder if it's a Chinese novel that they translated. I'm gonna look into that. It sounds cool. Obviously, it's about a chicken warrior. But yeah, this is one of those weird announcements that you see, and it's like, yeah, this is so odd, but the game looked cool. I'm not a Dynasty Warriors person. Like, the idea of smashing through hundreds of enemies at once doesn't really do anything for me, but I thought it looked fun. It looked neat. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else for us to say about it. It was quite a surprise.
I think the only thing I have to say about it is that between this and that Fist Zootopia game, or whatever you want to call it, Zoo Punk.
Oh.
I forgot what it's
yeah,
called.
the Zoo Punk.
Oh, yeah. Anthropomorphic animals are back, and Nintendo needs to show their hand and give me Star Fox right now.
Oh, man.
One
yeah, in a big way. You can name several different projects and games that are doing it. They're, I don't know, it's just some of the games coming out these days are so wild. Like, if you'd have told me if like 15, 20 years ago there's gonna be like an action game where you're a chicken in knight's armor, I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? That's so weird. But now it can come out and catch people by surprise at a show. Next up, we had another trailer for Star Wars Galaxy Racer. Still no confirmed date on that. We just still have 2026. I know a lot of people are excited about that. I'm not a racing guy, and I like Star Wars enough, but are either of you excited for this game, or is it just whatever?
I'm happy there's another Star Wars racing game, and I think it's interesting that this looks very, I think Mike said this earlier, very Burnout-ish, which is exciting. You know, I loved the pod racing game on N64 back in the day, but I'm not interested enough to pick it up. But I think it's cool that it exists.
Yeah.
I am a racing game guy. I like racing games a lot. I think this developer is like ex-Criterion people, which is very cool. And it does look very Burnout, and there's not something like that around right now. And I think there's room for a game like that. So I am pretty excited for it. I probably will play it. If it's like some $70 game, I probably not. But
I don't imagine
if it's something
Star Wars though, who knows?
If it's like 40, 50, I think I definitely would give it a shot. But if I'm gonna pay $70 for a racing game in 2026, it's probably gonna be Forza Horizon 6, to be honest.
Yeah,
so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it.
And the beauty of that game Pass, man. I don't have to worry about that personally. And I love the Forza Horizon games. I'm not a racing car guy. I play every one of those because they're incredibly well made.
I know like Max is an I know Max is an F1 guy, but I've always recommended those games too. I think they're pretty good. Like,
yeah,
they're a
I
solid,
recommend
like,
them
simulation of them.
Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say it's just a solid like simulation to like that kind of racing. It's really good. So are the dirt games too. The dirt games are great too.
I just love the cultural aspect of, like, especially Forza Horizon 5 going to Mexico. I think they do a really good job with implementing the culture of the location they're at. I think they do a phenomenal job with the detailed locations. And outside of, I think 4 was England? Yeah, because 3 was Australia. England was pretty one note to me, which is kind of indicative of the country itself in terms of its landscape. But yeah, I'm so excited for Japan. It's like, within a year's time, we get Japanese Assassin's Creed and Japanese Forza Horizon, which is pretty sick.
Yeah.
Dreams come true.
Yes.
Dreams do come true. Next up, we got 007 First Light. Nothing much there. We already knew the date and all that. Next up, we got the announcement of MGS Master Collection 2, which comes with MGS 4, Peace Walker, and Ghost Babel. This was pretty exciting news for you, right, Max?
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's finally free. It's free of its long prison. The cell processor can
This
finally.
is debate. I was gonna say
Ugh.
this is debatably like the biggest announcement at this showcase, and it was like
Yeah.
in the middle of the whole. It was like the first thing they showed at the Konami thing. I'm like, they should have just showed this at the end of the con. This would have.
Oh, are you an MGS guy too, Mike?
I'm not an MGS guy, but like I know, like the whole thing with MGS4, and it's just been stuck on PS3 for ages, and like people have been wanting
Gotcha.
it for years, and all that stuff. Like, there's even as like I like MGS, like. I've basically only watched people play MGS though, to be honest, except for MGS5. But
Drew Scanlon.
but yeah, thank you, Drew Scanlon and Dan Reichert for that one. But it's like I know the legacy of that game, and I, someone who's just basically watched that game get played, was excited for that announcement. So I feel like that was definitely like a show ender, and it was like the first thing they showed on the Konami thing. I thought that was very odd, but yeah. Anyway.
The crazy thing is, it was like a whole Konami block.
Yeah,
But we'll get to the other games. It was crazy. Yeah,
Konami coming in hot.
Yeah.
What's so great is
their
is
best
this game
presentation of all
it's like-
time.
it's been stuck at, I'd have to go grab the case back there. I think it's only 720p, an unstable 30. Like it has been in this prison on this console for the longest time because of the cell processor on the PS3 and the difficulty of developing. And they finally have figured it out. I mean, the only way outside of real hardware up to play at this point would be through PS3 emulation, and that only recently got even decent on good PCs and computers. Like this game has been very difficult to access, and it has some of the best moments in the whole franchise and some of the most Kojima of Kojima cutscenes and moments. It is so good. I replayed it a few years ago for the first time since I originally played it, and it's just like it's like a big bowl of cereal, but the cereal is fan service, and it's just immaculate. It's so good. And I'm so happy that so many people will finally be able to play it on modern hardware. And it's supporting higher resolution, a higher frame rate, and customizable buttons, whatever. So it's going to be pretty sweet. I'm very excited that this is finally free.
And it's not exclusive to a console, which I think is huge too. For it being, released finally from its prison, and now everybody gets to check it out. Is dope.
Even those on Nintendo Switch too.
Yep.
Ooh, beautiful experience. I cannot wait. Next up, the next two Konami announcements. One thing you need to know about me is I am a mark for a 2D puzzle platformer. If you have a good art style and the gameplay looks really good, I am there day one. And I've actually been wondering what happened to Darwin's Paradox for like a long time. We saw it, it got revealed, and then it kind of went ghost for a long time. It went the way of Little Devil Inside. Maybe not as long as that game. But yeah, I'm excited to see it pop up again. We have a release date, April 2nd. Excited for that. They even did a neat little crossover with MGS, which is cool. And then the second one, which is a much bigger announcement, we got a new Castlevania game finally for the 40th anniversary. The first game for celebrating the 40th anniversary, apparently. Konami sent out a message afterwards saying that it was the first game, meaning that there's others in development. Who knows if that means for 2026 or years after. But it's Castlevania Belmont's Curse. It's being developed by the Dead Cells, Rogue Prince of Persia devs, which is Evil Empire, as well as Motion Twin. This is a cool evolution of the studio being able to work with Konami because they did Return to Castlevania, which was a DLC for Dead Cells. So it seems like Konami was happy enough with that to give them their actual game. It looks dope. Funny enough, for them being the developer who developed Rogue Prince of Persia, I immediately felt Prince of Persia Lost Crown vibes. It's one of my favorite games. Rest in peace to that studio. Screw Ubisoft. They're idiots. But I'm excited for this game. Castlevania is a series that I think has been shown some of the worst love for as recognizable and impactful it was for the gaming industry, and for it to kind of disappear for a time is kind of heartbreaking. So I'm glad to see it back in the fold. I'm super stoked about it as somebody with very minimal experience with Castlevania, but it is a genre I love, and I love the art style and everything about it. I guess we'll go to you, Max. What did you think about this announcement for a new Castlevania game?
Finally, it's back, baby. I wrote it down. It's been over 13 years since the last 2D Castlevania game. Which I couldn't believe when I wrote it down. Chapter Selects next season is Castlevania, and to be fair, I guess procrastination pays off once again. We announced that 2 years ago. We're finally entering proper production on it this year. So, procrastination wins again, and this will definitely be a part of that season when it comes around. When you see the Evil Empire and you see Motion Twin, initially I got nervous. I'm like, oh no, it's a roguelite. I don't want a roguelite. I just want a Castlevania game. But everything from the blog post to the trailer all indicates a classic experience with a new art style and a pair of studios that know how to make a 2D action exploration game.
Yep.
And so I'm so happy about that. The art I think looks really good. I think it looks better visually than kind of the typical 2.5D art style that we've seen, especially with games like what is the one that Igarashi did?
Bloodstained.
Bloodstained. Thank you. Yes, I think it looks like a better version of that 2.5D. It still looks like Castlevania, and so I am very, very, very pleased to see this announced and coming out. And the name Belmont's Curse is just so good.
Sick. Mike, you had this as a highlight as well, right?
Yeah, I did. I was gonna ask. I actually have the press release for it. It's interesting. I know, Max. I know you're probably into like the story stuff. I guess this is 2 decades after the events of Castlevania 3: Dracula's Curse and the recent animated show. If you wanted to know timeline stuff.
Oh, cool.
Obviously, you're playing as like Trevor Belmont.
Okay, if it's Trevor, then that would have been the first run, not the obviously not the Symphony of Night one.
Yeah. And then it does seem like it is in fact it says immersive 2D action exploration gameplay. So I don't think it's a roguelike, which is nice. It says the unique art style of Castlevania Belmont's Curse builds upon the series' signature gothic aesthetics, allowing players to discover the world of Castlevania like never before. New areas are rich with secrets and puzzles to uncover, alongside deadly traps that demand constant vigilance. So that sounds like a Castlevania game. I'm excited for it because I just played Castlevania Symphony of the Night for the first time ever last year, and it's probably one of the greatest video games I've ever played in my entire life. It is so freaking good. And then I got so hyped. I tried a couple others. They didn't hit with me except for Aria of Sorrow, which that game is my favorite Castlevania game. That game is so freaking good. So if it could hit in that sort of vein, like, to me, this will be an awesome game. And like Motion Twin and Evil Empire, like I've played a bit of Rogue Prince of Persia and I've played a bit of Dead Cells, and I'm with you, Max. I don't really care for roguelites with that kind of stuff. I'm bad at video games. I don't want to have anything random. I just want to look at a walkthrough sometimes and play through a game. So
yes.
So if this is that kind of thing, with their kind of gameplay though, which I think is very good, I think this game is gonna be like incredible. I think it's gonna be awesome. So I'm very excited for it.
It looks dope. I cannot wait. The other thing I want from Castlevania is, I know a lot of times people are like, oh, I want a 3D Castlevania made by FromSoftware. That's never going to happen. There's just not FromSoftware's bag. What I would say is I would offer it to Round 8 Studios, which is the developer of Liza P, because I think they could really nail a 3D Castlevania. So we'll see what happens. I'm just glad to see it back in the mix at all. Next up, we had Silent Hill Townfall. it seems like we're getting Silent Hill is now Resident Evil. I think Konami saw the success Capcom was having with Resident Evil, and they were like, "Hey, we could do that with Silent Hill." And it just seems like we're getting a new one all the time. And thankfully, the last couple have been pretty well received outside of the social media one, which I think was kind of mixed. I don't remember the name of that one. But now we have Silent Hill Townfall, which is coming out in 2026 in partnership with Annapurna. This is a highlight for you, Mike?
Yeah, definitely. I've been into their recent Silent Hill offerings. I was not a Silent Hill person and a Resident Evil person, I guess, when they first came out. I really got more into Silent Hill when that remake came out. That game was probably my favorite game of the year that year. I think that was 2024. I've played a little bit of Silent Hill F when we were visiting Logan Moore's house. I played a little bit of it. But and I really enjoyed what I played of it so far. But this one seems very interesting because it's going into first-person perspective, which is very funny considering that's exactly what Resident Evil did. But it looks very neat. Like you're using this pocket TV to like look at different areas of like the map and stuff, and it's got like a certain vibe to it, but it still looks very Silent Hill like. I wonder how the combat will be is my only thing. Because first-person combat in, like, survival horror is always, like, frustrating, and it's supposed to be frustrating, and I feel like Resident Evil kind of kills it with that, where it's, like, it's very tense, but it's still very doable, and I feel like they killed it with, like, Silent Hill 2 Remake, but we'll just see how this one goes, but the vibes here are very good to me, so I'm very much looking forward to this game. I hope it comes out around, Halloween time. Looks sick. Very excited.
Yeah, gotta hit the vibes. Next up, we got Rev. Noir, which is in development, another Konami game. Let's try to go a little bit quicker through this list so we can get to the topic of the show. Next up, we had John Wick. It was a cinematic trailer from Saber. Real quick, Max, why was this a highlight?
I just it looked kind of neat. I kind of got Sifu vibes from it, and I hope they actually take an inspiration from Sifu because I think that's really how John Wick like plays and feels. This could be super generic, could be fine, totally nothing, but I thought it looked kind of slick. And I liked how they were pretending it wasn't John Wick, even though the entire time it was very obviously.
Yeah, the reveal stinger was weird.
Yeah.
Like,
guess who it is?
We all know, guys. We all know.
Yeah. Weird. Yeah, I'm excited just to see that franchise get a game. I've only seen the first one. I need to get around to the rest of them, but it is cool to see.
Oh my goodness! Okay.
Keanu Reeves as a face of the game. Yeah.
They're great.
All right. It's. I'll spare the tangent.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, we had Marathon, which none of us had on our highlight list. It was just kind of hey, we're having a server. What did they call it?
Well,
server slam.
Server slam, which is a pretty good name.
We're excited.
I'll just say this: I didn't.
We're excited, but
we're very excited.
We're excited, but also like we've seen it a bajillion times. We just want to play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I kept it off the
slam,
list for new things.
Yeah.
Fair. That's why the same thing you guys didn't put RE on your highlights. The server slam is happening February 26th to March 6th, and that's going to be a free thing to download and check out. We had a PS Plus segment, yada, yada, yada. We saw another look at Big Walk, which is a very experimental walking communication-based game. Really cool vibes. Curious to see how that reviews critically and what the actual like point-to-point gameplay is. Next up, speaking of stuff we've seen before, we saw Saros, but we got gameplay and a little bit more story. They explained your base of operations. You had this on your highlight list, Mike. Real quick, why was it on there?
Yeah, just very baseline. I've always been like a Housemarque fan. I love their games, and I've loved their games for quite a while now. So I'm just excited again for something that they're making, and this one looks very interesting, and it looks like a more accessible version of Returnal to me. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, shout out Raul Coley. I'm really excited to see him be the face of a game. Next up, we had Marvel Took on Fighting Souls coming out August 6, 2026. Got a release date. Announced 4 new characters. The Unbreakable X-Men. We got Storm, Magic, Wolverine, and Danger, which I thought was a fun pull for a fighting game roster for Marvel. And then lastly, we had the double announcement for God of War. We had the God of War Trilogy remake announced by Sony Santa Monica, which we can get into. And then we had the God of War, the long-rumored and speculated 2D game, God of War Sons of Sparta, which shadow dropped the day of recording, which is February 2nd, from Mega Cat Studios in association with Sony Santa Monica. Real quick, my top-level thoughts on the God of War Trilogy remake. I'm excited. I'm interested to see how they change things to tie it more into the last two, the Norse duology of games, and see what exactly they add in there as Easter eggs to connect them a little bit more closely. And who knows how far away they are, but I am very much excited. What about you, Max?
It's cool that it's a remake and it's a trilogy, the core trilogy. If you're gonna redo any of them, I guess the trilogy is what you do. It's a shame Ascension doesn't make the cut, or the other, Chains of Olympus.
No,
and
it's
Ghost of
not.
Sparta.
No, it's not. Don't lie. Come on.
Ghost of
It's
Sparta.
not.
No, I'm not lying.
No one cares about Ascension.
Ghost of Sparta. Ascension, first of all, multiplayer servers still live.
Get out. Stop. Just stop.
Kind of crazy, honestly. Ascension.
Anybody else
time.
ever logged in with you, Max, or is it just you on there?
No, I was getting absolutely trounced the last time I played. So people on
yeah,
there.
because the kids that are playing
hardcore.
that don't own any other games.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool. What I think is kind of a shame about it is they're like, it's now entering development, or it's in early development. So what have you guys been doing for the last 5 years? Where is Cory Barlog's game? I don't know. Like, it's cool. I'm great. I will say that I did play last year. I finally I replayed Ragnarok, but I played for the first time the Valhalla DLC. And for those who aren't familiar, it does go back to ancient Greece in this kind of rogue light experience, these combat arenas, and a lot of it is Greek inspired. And I was thinking about just, okay, well, if that's what Santa Monica can do in a Greek design with obviously the 2020s PS5 kind of graphics technology, the remake could look pretty good, but I suspect the core gameplay will still be the same, so we won't really necessarily be down. I maybe I'm completely wrong in that they make the camera more like God of War 2018 and Ragnarok, and it's a more over the shoulder, but I would suspect it being above, just like it was in the originals. So I don't know what kind of like visual fidelity we'll be getting out of it. And I wonder if they know. So I don't know. It's weird. It's like, well, what have you guys been doing for the last 5 years? And now you're going to start making 3 new games at once? Like that, I don't know. That seems bold.
But this seems like a second,
the
the second smaller part of the studio is going to be working on this, is my assumption. And that the main core is working on the actual big release. I hope so, anyways.
You would hope. I think the Sons of Sparta, though, pretty cool. Just conceptually has been rumored forever. Rumor was it was going to be revealed at the Keeleys last year, but that didn't happen. I like the shadow drop. That makes it a bit warmer of a reception. I don't love the art style, but I think the idea of it is pretty cool. It does remind me a lot of God of War Betrayal, which was like the Java script mobile game that was on phones, like flip phones back in the day. So
I thought the same thing.
It's cool. Like there's clearly roots. God of War has always respected all of its entries. Everything is canon. So it's fun. I'm eager to get my hands on it. I think the most interesting thing about it, besides the shadow drop, is that it is co-op. So
$40
I
too,
don't
right?
even know what that would. 30. There is a deluxe
30.
edition for 40.
Okay. That's one
that
I
comes
saw
with
then.
like a soundtrack and an art book and stuff, but nothing nothing too crazy beyond that. So $30. I do hope it gets a physical release someday, just because all the other God of War games have. But we'll see how it shakes out. I mean, I'll probably be buying it, tonight or tomorrow. So we'll see.
I'm not.
So I very sorry, yeah. So very rarely anybody who listens to the podcast knows that I tend to try to be as optimistic as I can with stuff, right? Or talk around things that I don't necessarily enjoy. This was like a huge deflating moment for me. And it's my fault for buying into what the rumors and stuff are saying. It's not necessarily that. I'll get to what my actual disappointments with it. But all the rumors were talking about it being similar to, I mentioned earlier, Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, one of my favorite games of all time. I absolutely adored that game. And not necessarily in gameplay, it didn't need to be a roguelite, but in terms of like the beautiful art style and bosses and stuff like that. And to me, this very much looks like a cheap video game. I don't like the art style. I don't like the animations. I thought the gameplay didn't look good. I thought the collision with attacks didn't look great. It's coming from developer Megacat Studios, and every developer is capable of like a really good game, but looking at their track record, they mostly do the backyard sports games. And outside of that, it's been a lot of like mediocre games at best.
They brought back
What?
Pablo Sanchez. They do deserve some respect. They brought him back from the grave.
Sure, but I'm not expecting a backyard baseball level of quality from a 2D God of War game. And it was disappointing because I was excited for this. And I'm not at all. I'm not buying this game. I think 30 is like reasonable. I thought it was 40, I was like, yeah, it's pushing it a little bit, but I misread, and that is the deluxe edition. I think this game looks bad. And like I said, I hate being negative on stuff, but I do think it didn't deliver, and I'm pretty sure I won't be the only person that feels this way. It seems like on this podcast, Mike might feel more closely to me than to you. Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have like a ton of like love for the God of War series. I think the new ones are great. Like 2018, I thought was awesome. I think I like 2018 more than Ragnarok personally. But yeah, I'm with you. The same thing. Like Megacat Studios, known for that, and then WrestleQuest was the other thing I remembered them from, and I know that was pretty lukewarm reception that it got. My one thing I did say, I was telling Max before this, I'm like, well, I guess if like someone like a Bloober team can have like a turnaround and make like a Silent Hill 2, maybe Megacat Studios can do that too with God of War: Sons of Sparta. I guess we'll find out probably in the next 24 hours when somebody beats it or something. But yeah, I mean, who knows? I'm just not excited for it because I'm not like a huge God of War guy. But it also didn't like get me to want to even look at it. I'm a sucker for something that just like looks kind of neat. So. Like, I want to play High on Life 2. Like, that's how much of a sucker I am, even though that game reviewed pretty well. So now I'm actually more of a sucker now, and I really do want to play it. So, yeah, I don't know.
It's
just
the skateboarding.
really
Don't lie to us, Mike. You want to play High on Life 2 for the skateboarding.
Yo, all you do is you sprint, and then instead of sprinting, you skate. That sounds amazing. That's the coolest thing in the world. Anyway.
I will say this, I'm not familiar with Megacat Studios. So I was looking on their Wikipedia, and yes, I found a couple of things interesting. When they got started, they were making NES and Genesis games, but in 2016 and 2017, and these were games that ran on real hardware and put out cartridges. So they clearly have an affinity for. I'm not saying they make great classic games, but they have an affinity for retro. And then they did apparently that Five Nights at Freddy's game they did reviewed very well, according to Metacritic. And they also put out that Angry Video Game Nerd 8-bit game that came out last year that I also heard some very good things about. So they seem to have, like, swings and misses, not to harp too much on the backyard baseball analogy. So we'll see, but I am with you. I don't think visually it looks very good, which is kind of a big bummer, but we'll see how it plays eventually here.
The one thing I will say is there's a game it looks very similar to that the art style is horrendous, but people love the game, and it's a 2D game, and that's Salt and Sanctuary. It's one of the 2D Souls games. A lot of people loved Salt and Sanctuary 1 and 2, and it is a hideous art style. So and it didn't have great animations either from trailers and stuff. I never played it personally, but yeah, I'm intrigued. But yeah, I think there's a reason they shadow dropped this. If they felt this was like a premium God of War product that they can, plant a flag post for a later release in the year to be a premier title, they would have done that. And the fact that this is like a shadow drop, kind of to me tells me the level of confidence they have in it. But maybe I'm reading into it too much. Who knows? We'll find out. And like Mike said, maybe in a day when somebody runs through it. That's another thing. We don't know how long this is. $30. If it's like a 6 to 7 hour experience, crazy. But who knows how long it'll be. Next up, let's get to the topic of the show. An hour into the podcast, that was a meaty state of play. So I'm not surprised we spent some time talking about that stuff. The topic of the show today is our gaming blind spots. So I asked Mike and Max to write down either franchises or solo games that they haven't played yet that are kind of on the backlog of shame. I don't really like to use that more than just gaming blind spots because it's a backlog. We all have them. It's not really shameful. There's only so many hours in a day, and as we get older, there's so many hours, right? Out of most of my friend group and most of the people I have on the podcast, I don't like have a child or a wife, so I have like more time than other people, and even I don't have time. So I can only imagine having those other responsibilities, how little time you have, to be quite honest. And so we're going to talk about our gaming blind spots. I think the first one I want to start off with, because we mentioned it earlier, was Dragon Quest. Mike, you put that down as a blind spot for you. I just want to talk real quick, and then I'll let you have the floor. I was really excited to hop into Dragon Quest 7 Reimagined as like my first Dragon Quest game. And then the reviews came out, and it's like, oh, there's like auto battling, and there's not much to it, and the difficulty isn't great. And as much as I love Akira Toriyama, the way they did the chibi versions of his art style isn't like as beautiful as I'd want it to be. It's like a weirder version of Sandland. So all of that together was like, oh, then maybe it's not the one I jump into. So now I'm thinking I'm probably going to wait for a sale on one of the remakes of 2 or 3, the really nice HD 2D remakes to hop in. So I was planning on marking this off on my blind spot, but unfortunately it just didn't pan out that way. What's your story with Dragon Quest, and do you plan on ever diving in?
So I'll do the second question first. I do plan on playing a Dragon Quest one day. Who knows? I want to play one. But in terms of like the story, I mean, it's just one of those things. I think that this is going to be kind of the story for all of them. It's just one of those things that I just never got to like as a kid. Like I wasn't really into turn-based JRPGs when I was growing up. It's just not the game I wanted to play. And honestly, I didn't really get into those until like very recently. Like in the past like 2 years. Like I played Final Fantasy VII for the first time last year, and let me tell you, it changed my life. I'm such a Final Fantasy VII sicko now. I freaking love that game. But I guess that kind of got me interested in it. Also, what I've heard about like the Like a Dragon, like Yakuza 7 games and stuff like that, people say it's kind of similar to that. So I like having that kind of play style, like to me, like seems very fun. And I think if I do go into one, I'm with you in that it'll probably be like one of those like remakes, like either 3 or the 1 and 2 remake. Or I've heard very good things about, is it 11? Is 11 the last one or whatever? I can't remember, but I've heard very good things.
The one we were talking about
11.
that was like at every show for like 2
Yeah.
years. Yeah.
I've heard like amazing things about that game. And if I play one, like at least I want to play like one of the best. So it'd probably be one of those entries that I play if I do end up playing it.
And the thing with Dragon Quest, I don't know if you've ever heard, listened to Michael Huber from Easy Allies and Game Trailers. That man loves Dragon Quest, and anytime I had heard him on a podcast or just anywhere talking about it, he's very infectious with his love for video games, and he was so glowing with Dragon Quest, where it wasn't even on my radar before, because it's a little bit more niche than like Final Fantasy. Obviously, it's hugely popular, but not to the extent of Final Fantasy. So once he started talking about it, that's what got me intrigued, and I was trying to figure out my jumping in point. 11, when it came out, didn't really work because there was other games and stuff, and then, like I said, with 7 Reimagined, I was like, oh, this isn't up. Never mind. It just didn't happen, so it's unfortunate. But, hey, maybe years down the line, we'll get back on here, and we'll talk about our first experiences with Dragon Quest, Mike. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Next up, I'm looking through the list of stuff. I want to talk real quick to Max specifically about two of the things he has on his list because they hurt me in terms of him. The comment you made about Minecraft, although no desire to play that one.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that exactly? Obviously, you have no desire to play it, but why is that there no desire?
I'm not a big survival game person, so that half of it doesn't appeal to me, and I don't want to build anything either. I don't enjoy just building
frictionless experiences is what you're looking for.
Yes,
Maybe
I
not frictionless.
I have no desire.
That denotes difficulty, but
yeah, no, I know. I knew exactly what you meant. That sounds spot on. I missed the window for it, and there's just nothing that could pull me in to play Minecraft. There is absolutely nothing. It's just not for me. And it's the same thing. It's why I don't want to play build mode in Fortnite. It's why I don't want to play Roblox. It's a reason I don't want to play Roblox. It's why I don't, play those city building like SimCity or Roller Coaster Tycoon. I have no desire to do any of that, and I don't really care for survival games either. I don't know.
It's just like double combo of genres you don't enjoy. I get it.
Exactly. And what I think's funny about this is it's one of the biggest games ever made, and it's just I've never played one bit of it, and which I think is unfathomable to a lot of people that I interact with, like my wife's students or some younger people I know. They're just like, huh? And then I turn around and be like, well, you've never played Splinter Cell? What? So it cuts both ways. I'm old is really what it is proof of.
The thing with Minecraft is I played since beta. I don't really play it that much anymore, but it's one of those games, and you guys probably have a certain game that does this for you where you're bored, you don't know what to play next, you just hop into it because it's familiar, it's comfort food. And I'll get in Minecraft, I'll play for like a couple of hours, and then I'm like, I'm good. And then I don't touch it for like a couple of years. Because during the 2010s, I put so much time into Minecraft. It was one of the games me and my friend group played. I'm like opposite brain of you in that I love building. Not so much survival's hit or miss for me, but I love building in games. I'm a big Lego guy. I just love the idea of being able to craft an experience and kind of have my ideas come to fruition. Like the first time I got to build a castle, and I worked on the ramparts and the moat, and I built a tunnel system that was mathematically efficient to get diamonds. I was a sicko like that. I'm like, hey, you have to dig this certain amount of spaces to be able to find diamond and coal and stuff. Yeah, I love like the micromanagement. It scratches my brain in a weird way. So to hear you've never played a lick of Minecraft was crazy. And then the other one on your list, I'm a big Xbox guy, is Gears of War, which is funny because when I think about it, I think we probably view each other not playing, me not playing MGS and you not playing Gears of War similarly. You're like, how can you not play that series? It's so pivotal to the genre it's in, and it's one of those franchises you need to play if you're going to maybe not consider yourself a gamer, but just play a lot of different, I don't know. It just feels to me that we're on opposite ends of the coin on that. Like I'm pointing like, Max, how have you not played any Gears of War? And you're like, sure, but how have you not played a Metal Gear Solid game? You know what I mean? So I just thought that was funny to point out in terms of our lists of gaming blind spots.
Yeah, I didn't have an Xbox of my own until an Xbox One, RIP. And that came with, the box is actually behind me. It came with Gears of War. What did they call the remake of the first one? The first remake of the first one. Was it Unleashed? Something like, what was Gears of War remastered? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because there's two of them now, so I'm trying to remember which is which. Because there's Reloaded, which is the new one, I believe.
I think it was just like Ultimate Edition or like remastered or something like that.
Ultimate Edition came out in 2015. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay.
So I definitely played like 5 minutes of that. I was like, okay, active reload's like kind of cool, and that's it. The most
you had to be there,
I remember,
man. You had to be there.
Exactly. I think that's one of the things is like you had to be there with the boys, in cover, doing the Horde mode and Gears of War 2 and things like that, I remember Mitch Dyer, formerly of IGN. I think he's still at EA. But he really liked Gears of War Judgment, which strangely is like the one I know the most about. Like there's a trial and there's flashback missions. So Gears of War is a series that I'm very interested in and would like to play. Logan and I have talked about doing it for a season of Chapter Select because it's so co-op intensive. And now that basically, I mean, first of all the games are accessible. Xbox actually gave, I think when you bought the Ultimate Edition of Gears of War, it came bundled. It also came with the 360 versions of all the other ones. So I actually have access to at least the first 4 Gears of War games, and then 4 and 5 I don't. But those are, and Funko Pop. Who could forget Gears Pop? Rest in peace. So
And Tactics.
I want to play. Well, yeah, and Tactics, So
Well, that's like
it's a
thinking
series
too broadly. Just the original trilogy is what I want you to play at some point.
Well, I am definitely overdue for sure, and I know E-Day, which is coming out this year, should be exciting for a lot of people. So it's on the list eventually, whether or not it becomes a podcast season or not. But it does feel like one where I'm like gonna have to squat up with Logan or something, be like, all right, it's time, take me through, carry me. Let's fridge, was it Dom's wife or something? Anita Sarkeesian. I remember that being her like prime example way back in the day. Let's fight some bugs,
Jesus
and
Christ.
robots. So we'll see.
Gears of War is like my best friend since I was 6 years old. We played every game co-op together, every Gears game. Last year we played Reloaded, which was really fun. Funny enough, the games we made sure to play every game in the series, Gears of War, and you two won't guess the other game, so I'm just going to say it, Army of Two. Polar opposite qualities. I love Army of Two. Those are bad games, though. Real quick, we're going to go over our last 2 gaming blind spots because we have 2 different ones that are on all 3 of our lists. First up, we have Chrono Trigger, Mother, and Earthbound. I'll start. Obviously, Mother and Earthbound is its own kind of bag of worms in terms of porting and all of that stuff. With Chrono Trigger, I don't know if you guys feel the same way. I'm like, they have to make a HD 2D remake of this eventually. They have to. So part of me is holding out for that. Obviously, there's some of the greatest games of all time on many people's lists, so it is a little bit shameful not playing any of them. And like my first introduction to Earthbound, like I think most people was NES and Smash. But yeah, I'm holding out hope for a Chrono Trigger remake of some sort. And hopefully that's not dumb to say because I know some people are like purists and like, oh, you should play the original. Don't wait for the remake. But I don't know. Kind of gives me an excuse to play it if it eventually is announced, if ever. With you guys, what's your ideas of maybe hopping into any of them and why haven't you? Do you feel the shame I do because they're so well regarded?
So I mean, truth be told, I played like the first. This is why I put this on here. I've played like the first like 30 minutes of both of these games, so I considered it a blind spot. But so it's not that I've never touched
for sure,
them
yeah.
ever. But I played like 30. I think I played like 30 minutes of Chrono Trigger on my Vita when I had a Vita, and then
There you go.
I played like Earthbound. I think I played like maybe 15 minutes of it on like the I think it's on the mini Super NES. I'm pretty certain. Earthbound I'd probably not go back to personally. Something about it I the vibes are great in it, but the gameplay of it just didn't vibe with me personally, which is why I only played 15 minutes of it. Chrono Trigger, I would probably go back to. That one was just more like there was just other things coming out and I wanted to play other things. So, and it's been like years now. So at one point I'll even play like the original one. I don't really care. So I'm definitely interested in playing it.
I too have dabbled with Earthbound. I want to say on the Wii U is where I bought my digital copy, I think. I think I even have Earthbound
What a place,
Beginnings,
Max.
maybe. So, I've dabbled, but like Mike, it just didn't click with me. And I was actually talking with some friends about this the other day. These were some younger kids who have really come up in Nintendo, like really hardcore, and so they love Earthbound, but everyone talks about Mother 3. And not just in the, oh, Reggie, please give us Mother 3, like, please bring it to the States, but they talk about how great of a game it is, and now this is a super polished fan translation that is de facto the English release of the game. I want to play it. Like, but then my brain has this thing where I'm like, well, I got to play Earthbound first, but I don't know if Earthbound's my thing. So, but then is Mother 3 my thing? So you get in the cycle, and then I just never end up picking it up. Chrono Trigger, on the other hand, is just one of those classic RPGs that everyone talks about. Same group of friends, they like couldn't believe I've never even heard music from Chrono Trigger. I'm like, I just don't.
That's insane.
I'm one of those guys that tries. Well, I try to listen to music from games that I've played. I don't just seek out soundtracks to stuff I've never played before. So I've never heard, like, they threw up some songs from the game, and I'm like, I've never heard this in my life. And so, not terribly surprising, I suppose, given my musical education to begin with. But Chrono Trigger is a fascinating one, and what I really find appealing about it is there's just one of them. It's not like a Final Fantasy where there's 50 games. It's just Chrono Trigger. Yeah. I've come very close to buying the DS version of the game. Very, very, very close. I could afford the Super Nintendo one, but it would be a foolish purchase. So we'll see what shape it takes whenever I play it one day. I don't know if that'll be, through emulation, or it's on iOS, tvOS. Like, I could play it on my Apple TV if I really wanted to. So there's no shortage of ways to play it. When will I sit down and play it? And you know what? Let's find out right now. How long to beat? It's my new favorite website as a 31-year-old man. How long do
Probably
I have to
30
commit to
hours.
this? 23
Really?
hours for the main story.
Okay. Longer than I thought. I was going to say 18 hours.
So 23, if you extra stuff makes it 26. A completionist is 42 and a half hours. So, I don't know. One day.
We had plenty of other games on our blind spots. Maybe we'll come back to this in a later episode and return and talk about them. I wanted to get to what we played this week, specifically for you two, especially with the news coming out that the Highguard developers fired 80% of their staff, and looks like that game is not long for this world. I guess you guys could share your experience, both of you playing Highguard, and was it evident that this was coming, or do you think that maybe it had more juice than people were willing to give it credit for? Whoever wants to start.
Mike pulled me into Highguard.
Do you want me to start? Okay. I think initially when we were playing it, we legitimately said, "Oh, we should try getting the platinum for this game before this game goes down off the PS Store."
Jesus Christ.
So that was the whole because we gone through Concord, we've gone through, like, there's been tons of games that have been delisted from the PlayStation Store, and you can't get those trophies anymore. Like the original Fortnite thing, you can't do that platinum anymore. I'm not even a platinum guy, to be honest, but like I thought that would be like a fun thing to do, and we're all playing together and stuff like that too. So it was a fun time. But I think as we've started to play it, I think we've started to actually like really enjoy it. I know I can really only speak for myself, but I've been having a really fun time playing it. I think the gameplay is like pretty good. I like the idea of like the beginning of the match kind of being quiet and like you're just gaining gear up to then go into these like raid firefights. That's kind of like a more fast-paced Rainbow Six Siege kind of thing, and I think it's like an interesting take. And like when they talk, when I was listening to some like not interviews but like Kind of Funny was talking about how they interviewed the people and what their like goal was for it, and I feel like Remedy said the same thing about FBC Firebreak, but they didn't want it to be like trying to take over the world kind of thing. So when you have like realistic expectations set, I think it made sense, but then people started playing it, people didn't like it. I feel like people were more hard on it, and I think a lot of it had to do with like I don't necessarily want to blame like the Game Awards for it, but I think it set expectations for it for sure, and it just was not going to hit those in the first place.
And
So
people wanted a
that was
target
definitely
too.
part of it.
It seemed like.
Yeah, and it did feel like it was getting like kind of unfairly punished, but also at the same time, when it came out and the stuff that it came out with, I can't necessarily disagree with like the scores that they would give it, like the 6s. I probably would have given it personally like a 7, between a 7 or an 8 personally, but like yeah, I get why people would have been more down on it. But I'm having
Mike,
a great time. If you have a crew, it's fun.
But to your point, like a lot of the hate I've seen isn't even based on the game. A lot of people are like, why are you streaming this game? Why are you giving it any of your attention? Like they're not even talking about the quality of the game itself. And it felt like because it was the final announcement at the Game Awards, people felt that it needed to be this special thing. And, you know, hindsight's 2020. They maybe could have asked Jeff to be earlier in the show or not done it. But you're dumb and you don't live in the world of reality if you don't understand why an indie developer wouldn't take a free showcase slot at the Game Awards. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like
100%.
It doesn't make sense. I don't know. It just seems like it was the victim of the moment and people decided, oh, this is the game to hate now. We don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
I think it unfairly got too much hate, regardless of how good or bad it was.
No, I don't know. Now, I the other thing, part of it too, is that like, was this a game that, you know, I don't want to get into the whole necessarily like, was the studio too big and did they try to make something way too big and it just didn't like work out for them and whatever happened, like that really sucks. But yeah, like I don't know if I just don't know what the expectations were, I guess. And it like playing it and stuff, I'm like, well, if this had like a, you know, however many, you said like 100 something, I think it was 100 plus like people doing that, like I don't know, it just didn't feel like it had the sauce to like really have that in the first place, like to support like those devs and having like realistic expectations for the game. It felt like to me, but I don't know.
Yeah, like the budgeting was wrong, or maybe their expectations for monetization. It could have been a management issue. Who knows? We'll probably find out a year from now from Jason Schreier.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, it's very odd. Max, you played too. What were your thoughts on Highguard?
I played the other night with Logan, and I was actually talking to him a little bit about it today. And Highguard is like design-wise, like just visually, woefully generic. It's just this fantasy with guns, and it there's nothing striking about it. And then the entire game premise, like the mode, the gameplay, feels like it could just be a mode in another game. And I actually think I would not be surprised if some sort of shooter picked up this overall concept and just added it to their game in the near future within this year. I really like the concept. It's this mashup of capture the flag and that one mode in Modern Warfare 2 and probably other Call of Duties where like one person has a bomb to defuse and the other team is defending the bomb so it will blow up. I forget what it's called. But
Search and
I
Destroy?
played that mode. What, say again?
Search and Destroy?
Sabotage or something. Search and Destroy or Sabotage, something like that. But I remember playing that all the time on Rust at my friend's house. The four of us, we'd sit there and we'd just play for hours on Rust, that mode. And then obviously like capture the flag. I think it's super fun, that loop of the loop, especially from when the sword shows up to the base. I think the whole finding everything is kind of moot because everyone just kind of levels up at the same pace. There's no like imbalance there, which makes me feel like it's a pointless. Like just give us all the. And I don't like the armor system because I always forget to pick up more. Like I don't like that I have to buy armor to be whatever. I think this is a mode that will be picked up by other people, and that's it. There's nothing grip. There's no grip to it that like will hold this out and keep it going. And you could tell that kind of from the very beginning. And I think this is a game overall that's going to be a victim of a lot of different things, like the team leaving EA to do their own thing, and who knows where their funding came from and like the budget and the returns that they needed on this sort of investment. But clearly a ton of money was poured in, a bunch of people were hired, and then a game like this that's free with $20 horse skins, is not going to make its money back in a world of fortnights of an Overwatch relaunch, which probably still makes a ton of money. And all the
Marvel
other
Rivals, Marathon, Arc Raiders, like you can name
exactly.
So many
Arc
games.
Raiders is having a huge moment.
Yeah.
Marathon's on the horizon. This game was never going to survive, and I think the Game Awards actually kind of like put a big target on its back to just get bullied by the internet, because this team, what I read, just like wasn't prepared. Like Jeff was like, "Oh, you gotta let me show this off," and they're like, "Okay." And they had no plan for communication. They were just doing a shadow drop was their original plan. And then you get millions of eyes on it. And it's like, what is this? I don't know. It's a total mismatch. It should be studied, I'm sure, for years to come. And I
also
think
starting an indie studio with 100 employees is wholly
nuts.
unsustainable.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And how many of those... and how many of them live in California, presumably, or where it's like financially unfeasible? I don't know.
Well, I mean, these days, there's a lot of places in this country where it's not financially feasible to do anything. So, but I get your point. Yes, California very expensive.
It's just, I think there's just a lot of problems with this, and I think it's
also the lack of marketing between announcement and release.
Exactly, and there wasn't any because they weren't going to do it. There was like their plan was just to release it. Overall, it's a lesson in both live service, release, and design, and reception. Like you have to have something because there's what they want is your time. And your time will turn into money for them. And you're not going to a game like this with one single mode that originally launched as 3v3 only, with a generic fantasy gun art style and like one mode that is unique but nothing groundbreaking, is not going to pull the masses away from the Overwatches, the Call of Duties, the Battlefields, the Fortnites, the Arc Raiders, presumably the Marathon. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, so I'm looking right now, as of 9:13 p.m. Central Time, there are 2,461 people playing this game, with a peak.
There's probably more people on those God of War multiplayer servers.
Probably
there might
with an all-time peak of 97, with 97,000. Right now, Overwatch is at 107,000. Like right now, and I think
but that's like apples to gold.
And then like even before that, it was
bad.
like I think it was still doing low numbers before the new stuff just came out, but it was like in the 50s, 20s. It looks like somewhere around there as it dips for like when updates come out and all that kind of stuff. But it was still like had some traction. There was a lot of like Overwatch hate at one point, but it was still Overwatch. Like still people played it. This like 2,000 people is 2,000 people is like nothing.
I mean,
like that's.
We should give it credit for lasting longer than Concord, though.
Yeah, and I do agree
but
with
the
you,
thing
Max. Is that I was gonna say where an Overwatch did have other modes technically, right? Like you had your
one whole other mode.
Thing. You had your capturing base thing. I think there was like some variety of like those kind of things, and it felt different though. Like there were different maps and stuff like that too. Whereas this is also legitimately all the maps kind of feel somewhat samey, and I think that has to do with honestly, art direction and stuff like that. But
also, Overwatch has incredible character design that's like unmatchable. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
right.
Like the moment those characters were revealed. Yeah.
Yeah.
We literally call one of the characters Tristan. Like we don't even know.
And that's not
name.
that's not their name at all. So we just call him Tristan.
It's
Winston, I'm assuming.
No, it's
so
Atticus.
painfully.
Oh, okay. That's funny.
It's so painfully generic, and like you scroll through the shop, and you're seeing $20 skins, and it's just like, oh, This is not
It just
like this is your plan. This is like how you're gonna recoup cost. Is a $20 wolf skin? Like that's not. It's not gonna work.
I honestly think if they
Yeah.
had like one other like mode, maybe like 2 other modes or something, like a team deathmatch, and then like maybe like a smaller version of like, or maybe just having like a raid mode, almost like a siege, basically, like Rainbow Six Siege. I mean, like I think that would have probably been better because at least more people would be playing different aspects of the game, and maybe you have found like, oh, this mode was better than this mode, or oh, I like just doing like the team deathmatch stuff or whatever. But there is just that
even
one
like a
mode,
lane
and
mode,
it's so easy to pick apart. Yeah, that would have been great.
like a
I was
like
thinking,
a
I was
MOBA?
trying to,
Yeah, something.
I was trying to think of like what would I think it's called ARAM in League. What would be like the ARAM version of this? It's like all random, all mid, I think is what it means. And it's
We don't
like
talk about
everybody
League of
gets like
Legends
a
on
random.
this podcast, Mike.
I'm sorry.
I'm just
You
kidding.
know what?
I'm just
Then,
kidding.
then
I'm
you
just kidding.
definitely know what it
Just
is.
kidding. Yeah.
Like, what would be that version of that for this game? Because I think the problem is that you just need to like get into the action way faster, and I think more people would have been more down for it. But
Well, and
I don't
also the core game, the gunplay is Apex Legends, which also isn't conducive to a mass amount of people. Like there's people who are very much Apex Legends people, and then people who prefer other shooters. Like a lot of people I know that are fans of shooters like Call of Duty, Battlefield, etc., bounce off of Apex Legends because they just didn't like the TTK or the way the gun functions, stuff like that, and they felt there wasn't enough. The skill gap wasn't manageable. Like if somebody was just better than you, there really was no chance of you getting one on them. We are running a little long, so I'll just go through mine pretty quickly of what I played. So I ended up finishing Winter Burrow. Funny enough, you talked about the anthropomorphic animals. One of my favorite book series is Redwall. So when I saw Winter Burrow announced, I really wanted to play it. I'm not a big survival game guy, but I played it. Really cute, really fun. If you enjoy, like I said, anthropomorphic animal tales of, Redwall adventuring, this game, you basically leave to the city, come back to your home in the desolate forest, to your auntie and your abandoned home, and you're trying to fix up the home. You get attacked by an owl. Your auntie gets like severely injured and almost dies. So the rest of the game is you rebuilding the burrow and kind of treating your auntie to better health. And you meet other woodland creatures and you help them out in their journeys. And there's like a lot of emotional storytelling there. It's a really fun time. If you're into survival games, I definitely suggest it. Next
So
up,
not
I played
Max.
Drop. Not Max, exactly, not Max. Hates animals, hates survival. The next game I played was courtesy of Game Pass. Oftentimes, I'll see some indie games on there, and I'm like, oh, I didn't really hear about this. I'll look into it and I'll check it out for a bit. It's called Drop Duchy. I didn't know what Duchy was. Duchy. It's an old English term for like a plot of land. Which makes sense when you know about the game. This is from Sleepy Mill Studio. It's basically Tetris meets base unit building strategy, and there's the roguelike elements. So basically the way the game works is you have a Tetris board. All of the pieces are shaped like Tetris pieces, though some are like longer in some ways, and they're all terrain. So when you drop a piece, it's going to be a different type of terrain. There's plains, forests, mountains, and then you have the building pieces, which are either, if this is sitting adjacent to a mountain and a plain, you get resources. Or if it is next to none of these, you get military units. And basically the whole point is to exhaust all the pieces without getting to the top of the board like a game of Tetris. And then you'll have boss fights and enemy fights where you're trying to amass a larger army. The twist on it is that you're also dropping the pieces for your enemy as well. So you'll have an enemy piece that's like, you get X amount of soldiers if it's adjacent to mountains. So you need to strategize and play the pieces away from mountains. So that way your enemy's army is weaker. And then there's like a whole rock, paper, scissors system in terms of having archers, axe users, and swords. And when you die, you have upgrades and you start again. It was really cool. It was a really neat twist on Tetris. And isn't the typical type of game I play. I played it for about an hour. Really enjoyed my time. I don't know if I'll go back to it, but if you're into Tetris-style games with a weird twist, I would definitely check it out. It came out last year on PC, and this one was the port that's kind of like the Game of the Year edition. And it's free on Game Pass, quote-unquote free. Obviously, you pay for Game Pass. And yeah, weird name, Drop Duchy. Learned a new word this week. Lastly, the big release, Mewgenics. This is from Ed McMillan and Taylor Glale, who Ed McMillan developed Super Meat Boy and obviously The Binding of Isaac. I was a huge Super Meat Boy fan. I never played Binding of Isaac, but the reviews for this were phenomenal. It was in a genre of game I don't usually play, which is turn-based games, and but the roguelike element was cool. Art style, really gross, but in a very charming way. I love that there's settings so you can turn off more of the crass parts of this game. So the way this game works is you send out 4 cats, and you go through this map where you click on it, and you go to these battlefields, and you defeat enemies. It has a whole class-based system where you put these collars on your cats, and they basically are classic D&D classes. You have your cleric, your warrior, your priest, and you want to put the collars on the cats that match that. Each cat has its own set of skills and abilities, passives and active abilities. So there's a lot of synergy you can find with all of the different systems in the game, and that's where it really shines. You'll find these weird passive abilities your cats have. One will be every time it moves, it poops to its left. And you're like, why would that be useful? Why would I care about a cat that poops whenever it moves? But then you can get an upgrade that says when this cat walks over poop, it heals 5, right? So then you're like, oh, he can be like a pseudo healer for me, and he poops and all that stuff. And then whenever you die, the roguelike element is you come back. The cats you used for that adventure, you can't use again to go out on an adventure, but you can use them to breed new cats for your next adventures. The part I mentioned earlier about turning off the crass aspects is that when you advance forward a night, your cats breed and produce kittens, and in a very Adult Swim way, they show the cats reproducing. It's not that graphic, but it is crass to some extent. But you can turn that off, and in its place will be them drawing demonic symbols to spawn a cat, or a stork flies in and drops the cat. It's really cute. The alternative there, so you don't have to watch 2 cats in heat very weirdly. It's fun. I was planning to play this game for 30 minutes just to get impressions. I ended up losing 3 hours of this game in the blink of an eye. It's that addictive. It has the best part of roguelikes for me, where it's oh, just one more run. There's a lot of systems in this game. It can be pretty overwhelming. I kind of got overwhelmed. There's 6 different shops that you can donate cats to for different abilities and upgrades. And like I said earlier, the amount of passives and attacks and items, it's a lot. But once you start getting the hang of it, you understand that synergy is your best partner in this, of trying to figure out what works with what and finding infinite combos. It's kind of like, Mike, you play Magic the Gathering, and it has some aspects of that too, where if you find something that works and you're like, oh, why is this in the game? They should have kind of maybe, or with the cards, they should have maybe edited these cards so there's not an infinite combo. That's the whole point of it. Is it seems like they want you to find those because that's the secret part of the game, and they want you to flourish and succeed, because there's so many parts of this game too where you'll have random events where you choose A or B, and if you choose the wrong one, your cat gets disabled and loses movement speed or health. Jeez. It's very brutal in its combat, but it is also very rewarding too. I'm excited to play more of it. Wasn't planning on touching this game at all until I saw a lot of the reviews, and I kind of felt bad not playing The Binding of Isaac after I loved Super Meat Boy so much. And did either of you guys watch Indie Game the movie back in the day?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I suggest anybody who's listening to go watch that movie. We're coming up on the 10-year anniversary, or 20-year anniversary, mind you. That came in 2007, I believe.
Stop it.
And obviously,
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop. You're not allowed to say that sentence.
Don't say that.
Ed McMillan obviously.
That
was a big
movie
part
just
of that.
came out. Didn't Phil Fish just
It
announce?
just came out the other day.
Fez 2.
God, Phil Fish.
For my own
remind me.
sanity, it came out in 2012. 2012.
Yeah.
So,
Why was I thinking 2007?
That sounds right.
Why was I thinking 2007?
I don't
Something
know,
I looked at
but
was
I'm
2007.
I'm
and I was
glad
thinking
you were
of a
wrong
20-year
by 5
anniversary.
years.
Was it
yeah.
Super
Oh,
Meat
you know
Boy?
what it was? I was thinking of no. What I was thinking of was maybe doing a 15-year anniversary thing where whatever guest I have on, we rewatch it and talk about the movie. So it'd be the 15-year anniversary, which would be 2027, not the 20-year anniversary. Slightly better. Well, that does it for this week's show. Shout out to Max and Mike for joining me. a fun little mini game. Go back and take a shot every time I called Mike Michael instead of Mike. I don't even know how many times I did that.
Okay, it's all good.
Yeah, please, Max, first let everybody know what you have going on and where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find all my writing, podcast videos, all the things I do. Just go over to maxfrequency.net. That's all there. We just wrapped up season 7 on Chapter Select, which is all Metroid Prime, and so we are in full production on the Castlevania season. You might see one or two of these guys on that season as we work our way through it, and quite exciting now to have a 20th game to round it all out with Belmont's Curse, which we will, of course, be playing as soon as possible as well. So you can just head over to maxfrequency.net for all that.
And Mike?
Yeah, you can find any news stuff that I write over at PlayStationLifestyle.net or ComingSoon.net. Probably more PlayStationLifestyle.net, to be honest. And then I also have a site, bantambanter.com. Not a whole lot going on there, but you can check it out if you want to.
Is that a podcast or just a site with blog and stuff?
It's a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. Okay.
But the
those
podcast,
links to both of those will be in the description.
Yeah, that's been the podcast. Pretty old now, but you could read all the articles that me and Ricky Freck had done. I think Ricky's done a couple stuff on there. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys for checking out the Controlled Interests Gamecast. If you have time, definitely go check out the very best episode 1. That's my Pokemon interview podcast. I'm doing monthly this year. Max was the first guest on there. Really fun episode. We talk about a bunch of stuff. We talk about how Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver might be the best games in the series, or they might not be, which is something that we didn't talk about, but Mike, that was on your gaming blind spot list. Link to our socials, as well as all of the links that these guys mentioned to their sites and their spots, will be in the description on the YouTube upload of this. Check us out on Blue Sky, as well as the podcast feeds, and we can also be found on YouTube, like I just said. Let us know what your biggest gaming blind spots are, and we'll catch you guys next time.